When adding and subtracting mixed numbers, I can just follow my simple addition rules or subtraction rules when I have common denominators. So I have the common denominator of 9, so I'm just going to add my whole numbers. So I'm left with 17, and then follow my rules of just adding the numerators and keeping the denominators. So I'll have 6 over 9 because 4 plus 2 is 6. And then I keep my denominator of 9, and this can actually simplify to 7 2/3. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try these two on your own. So for our first one, I'm just going to add my whole numbers. So I have 8, and then add my numerators, 6/8. And when I simplify that, I'm going to get 8 3/4. For my second example, though, I see that I have unlike denominators, so I need to make like denominators. So I can multiply the 5 by 2 to get to the denominator of 10. So I have 5 2/5 plus 2 3/10. And I'm going to get 7. And actually, this 2/5 should be 2/10. I get 7 5/10, which simplifies to 7 1/2. When I do subtraction, I still need to make sure that I have common denominators. So I need to make the 3 a 2. So I'm just going to multiply by 2. So I have 8 5/6 minus 2 2/6. And now I can just subtract those. And so when I subtract my whole numbers, I'm going to get 6, because 8 minus 2 is 6. And then when I subtract 5/6 minus 2/6, I'm left with 3/6, which can simplify to 6 1/2. Always make sure that you are writing your fractions in simplest form. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. So I need to make sure that I get like denominators, common denominators. So I'm going to multiply by 2. So I'm going to get 13 7/8 minus 9 6/8. And I'm going to be left with 4 1/8. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try this one on your own. So I will multiply by 3 to get the common denominator of 12 and multiply this side by 4. So I'm going to get 7 9/12 minus 4 4/12. And I'm going to be left with 3 5/12 after I subtract those, because I'll subtract my whole numbers. 7 minus 4 is 3, and then subtract my fractions and be left with 5/12. When I have 2 1/3 minus 1 2/3, I see that automatically these fractions would give me a negative number if I was to do that. But I know that 2/3 is greater than 1 2/3, so I need to use what's called the borrowing or renaming method, so that I can get a true number of what it really is. So if I was to draw a picture to represent 2 1/3, I would have 2 wholes, and then I would have a third. So I have a third shaded in, but that also means that all of these wholes can be separated into thirds. So really, I could rewrite this to say 1 4/3, because I have 1 whole, and then I have 1 2 3 4 thirds. So I rewrote that one, and I'm going to subtract 1 2/3. So 1 minus 1 equals 0, and then 4/3 minus 2/3 gives me a 1/3. For 8 minus 3 3/4, I need to make sure that I have a fraction in there. So I can use the renaming method to say 7 and 4 over 4. And the reason I chose 4 was because I want like denominators, and this denominator is already a 4. And so 4 over 4 would be 1, so 7 plus 1 gives me 8. So that's how I got this 7 and 4 over 4, minus 3 and 3/4. So that's going to give me 4 and 1/4. 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 over 4 minus 3/4 gives me 1/4. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try this one on your own. So I have 7 minus a half, or 1 and 1/2. So I'm going to rename 7 to say 6 and 2 over 2 minus 1 and 1/2. And I'm going to be with 5 and 1/2, because 6 minus 1 is 5, and then 2 over 2 minus 1/2 gives me 1/2.